Today let's talk about foods, specifically fruits, and more specifically why Applejack and her family hate certain fruits but others not. And I might have an explanation for that, or at least something better than just their racist towards some fruits. But first, a little bit of context. So in the show we saw that Applejack and the whole apple family, except Apple Bloom, hated some fruits and their families, specifically pears, bananas, and strawberries. And I do mean hate, specifically we're talking about pears, as in season 7 we saw that it wasn't only a family rivalry, but a full-on distaste towards the pears. Which is not that surprising. I mean, Applejack comes from an apple-only family, so it only makes sense that she would only like apples. Except she doesn't, as we know that there's non-Apple family members in the Apple family, like Uncle and Auntie Orange. And sure, they could only just be family friends and not actually family members. But if that's the case, why are the oranges in the family photo the apples took at the end of Apple family reunion? And to make it a little bit more weird is that no one minded them or told them they couldn't be there. Or how about Applejack being a close friend and helping on Cherry Jubilee's ranch in season 2 and in the comics? Which I always found a little bit hypocritical, as Applejack was the first to criticize Apple Bloom for bringing a pear jam home and not accepting Strawberry's opinion on apples. Yet here she is working in another family's farm all because she didn't win a blue ribbon. And I wasn't the only one, as a lot of fans debated if Applejack was a hypocrite for working another family's farm. And this was because a lot of fans speculated that probably the cherries and apples were rivals. Which we now know that that wasn't the case. So what's the deal with the Apple family? Why they hate some fruits but others not? Well, for that we need science, specifically pomology. What's pomology? Well, it's basically the development, study, and classification of fruits. Which leads me to my theory. For what we know, there's only a limited amount of fruit families in Equestria, but the ones we do know about are the apples, cherries, bananas, pears, oranges, berries, strawberries, mangoes, and grapes. And we even know that there's mixed fruit families in Equestria, like with cherry punch, ruby splash, and silverberry. But out of all of these, the only ones that were confirmed to be farmers in the show and in the comics are the apples, cherries, pears, and strawberries. So what does these four have in common? Well, they're all part of the Rosaceae subfamily of Pomone, which basically means that all these families are related. Yeah, you heard that right. Which is not the same case for the oranges, who are part of the Rosaceae family. So if they're all related in real life, we can also assume that at some point all these families were also related in the show. Which begs the question, why do they hate each other so much? What happened? Well, what if at some point they used to be a unified family of farmers who ran all types of farms across Equestria? United, they were the powerhouse among the farming communities. And at some point they wanted to expand into one single unified community. This one later being Appaloosa. Which might seem crazy, but this was somewhat hinted on issue 33 of the MLP comics, where it's confirmed that the cherries have been a prevalent and important part of the farming community on Appaloosa for generations. But this was until the pears and the strawberries ruined this plan, as they didn't want to be held back by the other families, with this upsetting the apples to the point of banishing them from this once promising farming family, and with the newer generations treating them like traitors, and later sparking a rivalry that would continue for generations to come. Although this was until a young love unified their families once and for all. And for the strawberries, they weren't that lucky, as some stayed farmers, although to a smaller degree, like Strawberry Sunrise, and others choosing other career paths, like what we saw with Strawberry Ice. And the only families who kept a good relationship with the apples being the cherries, oranges, and the pies. Wait, what? Because, yeah, believe it or not, there's one Apple family member called Peachy Sweet who has a pie cure mark, which might not seem like a big deal, but this could finally solve the mystery behind if Pinkie Pie is an apple or not. Or at least this could mean that at some point the pies were a part of the Apple family. But what do you guys think? Do you think that these families are connected, or that's all a big coincidence? Leave it down in the comments. And remember to like the video if you enjoyed it, and consider subscribing for more MLP videos like this one. And remember to take care guys, and I'll see you in the next video.